If I may, for a moment, paraphrase the great English comedian Kenny Everett, a kingdom has a king, an empire has an emperor, and the country has Carrie Bradshaw. And that's where we find her in Season 4, Episode 9 of Primeval TV Cringe Fest SATC. Grab your rodent repellent, don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get into it. It's episodes like this where you'd be forgiven for wondering if Aidan has any concept of who he's in a relationship with. Because he decides that what uptight city girl Carrie Bradshaw really needs is a week in the middle of a forest, holed up in a wooden shack for which running water is considered a modcon. Carrie endures the unbridled agony of the 50-minute car ride up to the appropriately named Suffern, New York, during which, you may notice, she clings to a book called Suffern Succotash, proving that at least the prop department were having a good time. In fairness, the cabin itself does look like something out of Friday the 13th, but sadly for Carrie, without the possibility of being murdered upon arrival. There is at least a jump scare when Carrie encounters an innocent squirrel that Aidan has befriended, which makes a lot more sense when you remember that his other friend is Steve. Carrie eventually escapes to Hohokus, New Jersey to get a signal and fast food, something she makes sound like a polar expedition but is, in reality, an 18-minute drive. I'm less interested in her bratty whining about how the country has the audacity not to be the city than I am those prices behind her. $1.89 for a cheeseburger. Take me back. Carrie's further attempts to get on board with country life, much like when she tries to write, mostly result in her having a load of shit on her hands. This drives her to lie to Aidan and piss off back to Manhattan for a slap-up dinner at Big's expense. Because despite her half-arsed fake attempts to be a supportive girlfriend, you really must keep in mind that she is still the worst person on the face of the earth. And despite being no fan of Big either, I do have to hand it to him for how spectacularly he turns the tables on Carrie here. He interrupts what must be one of several rambling diatribes to inform her that he's filled the wafer-thin dent she left in his mattress with a famous movie star. We don't, and will never get, any solid proof that a single line of his story is actually true, but it has the desired effect of Uno reversing Carrie's rubbish, obvious attempts to make him jealous over Aidan. Because she only ever wants what she doesn't currently have. Like a toddler. Or cancer. Back at the cabin, Carrie makes a last-ditch attempt to go full Betty Crocker, but ends up Betty Crocker shit, burning her legs with an upended apple pie like a 90s McDonald's franchise did a drive-by on her. She finally admits that she hates Aidan's countryside fantasy, which he doesn't help by treating her injury with ice he just pulled from a pitcher of Kool-Aid and vodka. Maybe it's an upstate folk remedy, one where the locals haven't yet joined the dots between it and a spike in staff-related deaths. None of this teaches Carrie anything, however, because she believes that she's compromising by doing something she passionately hates just to please her partner, when all she's really doing is tempting fate long enough for something to go horribly wrong. How long, you ask? Half an episode, of course. Stay tuned! Thanks to Aidan's loose lips, Miranda discovers early doors this episode that newly single ex-boyfriend Steve has been diagnosed with testicular cancer. Here are some jokes about it. Ms. Hobbes' sympathy lasts as long as it takes Steve to reveal his acceptance of an HMO-appointed doctor's questionably minimalistic diagnostic method. Think House, but if he died in Season 1 and been replaced by New Jersey's handsiest faith healer. While Miranda does point her ex to a more trustworthy and hopefully less gropey specialist, the terrifying white-knuckle ride of his potential future she takes him on in the process only succeeds in making him cry. She means well, but she has the bedside manner of an escaped gorilla that somehow got tangled up in a white coat. Feeling bad, she invites Steve over for takeout, chop-socky movies, and a deeply unsettling play for miscongeniality at the inaugural ex-boyfriend bowl cancer pageant. Thankfully, he quickly puts a stop to the Addams Family values of it all by telling Miranda that the Annie Wilkes elements of her personality,
"You dirty bird,"
are far more useful to him than the Florence Nightingale ones. Steve undergoes Operation Nut Be Gone and wakes to find Miranda hovering over his bed, which most men in his position would assume is her coming back to finish the job. Instead, she insists on staying to play nurse, which is just as well considering that apparently nobody else bothered to visit. After all, Aiden's got Squirrel Steve now. Still keen to hop aboard the Preggers Express to hell, Charlotte's waist deep in fertility exercises and monitoring her basal body temperature with what appears to be an off-brand Tamagotchi. She's interrupted by Trey, whose presence alone surely causes any woman's reproductive organs to close for business faster than a theme restaurant in a recession. And if you'd like to force a hard shutdown of your junk for whatever reason, simply witness this exchange between love's young nightmare.
"I need you to conserve your juices until then so they'll be at their most powerful."
Darling, I'm juicy now.
The only juice I'm producing right now is bile. Wouldn't you know it, their optimum window for conception falls right on a weekend visit to Bunny's Connecticut compound. And if there's one thing less likely to put you in the mood than Trey, it's the mound of pleated skin he was ejected from. During a tour of Bunny's orchid nursery, which I was relieved to discover wasn't some kind of euphemism, Charlotte is bizarrely surprised by the revelation that Trey spilled the beans about them trying to get pregnant. Personally, I'm more surprised that the next stop on the tour isn't the MacDougall mating shed, complete with stirrups and a viewing deck. Perhaps it's all the plant life around her, but before long, Charlotte's stalking around the house looking for her husband's seed. What she finds instead is him taking a bath with his decrepit mother perched over him on a stool. Please, ladies, please tell me this would be a deal breaker. I need to hear you say it. Trey's tacit explanation for this behaviour is that Bunny was an absentee mother and he was raised by a nanny. So, what, exactly? An atypical upbringing makes your porridge gun fair game for family gatherings? Is there a whole secret community of rich heirs slinging hog at family reunions while the matriarchs huddle in a corner and discuss whose son has the most out-of-control bush? What is this? All questions that Charlotte fails to ask, busy as she is mounting a literal sack of shit so that the metaphorical one she's married to can mount her. I can't with this. We'll pick up with them next time. Bunch of freaks. The problem with what I do on YouTube, if you were going to pick just one, can be summarised thus. While viewing a 20-year-old TV show through a modern lens is fun, you are, inevitably, robbed of much of its original context. You can get some of that back with research, but unless the show outright tells you what it's talking about, there's bound to be references that are just lost to time. Which is a long-winded way of saying that I have absolutely no idea why Samantha's beef this episode is with guys asking her what she's doing at the weekend. Was this a major concern for Turn of the Millennium women? Was it just intended as an expression of Sam's irritation at clingy men? Without context, I'm left to assume the latter. Whether it's for that reason or another, Ms. Jones winds up roped into a trip to Aiden's cabin. She only has to put up with a few hours of Carrie trying to cook an apple pie with a f***ing travel guide before spotting an upside to country living that she can get behind. Or more accurately, underneath. Dungaree-wearing farmer Luke. Under the pretense of needing a glass of milk, she treks over to Luke's farm, but for some reason thinks that jamming a bucket hat onto her head is what does it for manual labourers. She winds up taking a load of unpasteurised cow juice right to the face, with Bessie having the audacity to not so much as call afterwards or leave a 20 on the dresser. Unfortunately, after a literal roll in the hay, Luke drops the dreaded weekend question and sends Sam scurrying back to New York. Seriously, if you know what this gubbins is all about, take a stab at it in the comments, please. Total mystery. Last video's top comment wasn't even in relation to the question and came to us from Boy Choi, who, despite some understandable confusion about who the f*** I am and what the f*** I'm doing, appears to have subscribed regardless. Welcome, Boy Choi. It's unlikely to get any more sensible from here, I'm afraid. Now we're all countryed out, this episode's question is, have you ever gone along with something just to please a partner? Let me know in the comments below. Either way, thanks for watching, don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember, if you can't be good, be crusty.